Do, 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 do. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. It is Tuesday, January 3rd. Hello, it's the New Year, Nick. Pay attention. January 3rd, Tuesday. I'm glad that you're all joining us again. It's a new year. Hope everybody had a great holiday season. But we are back to Roundtable, first episode of the new year, so thank you for joining us out there. As always, you know I am never alone, but we do have a special guest this week. Tina Winter has joined us for this program. So, Tina, how are you?
Hello,
Happy New Year,
everyone.
and how's it going? How you doing?
It's going good. It's going good. I had a great New Year.
Oh,
Hung out with some friends, all
awesome.
that stuff. So glad to be on the show, guys. Thanks for inviting me.
No, we're happy to have you, always. Thank you very much for coming on. Delilah, how about you? How was your New Year? How are you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing good. It went by too fast because
Right, back to work soon? Right, back to work soon?
I was not ready today. It was not.
I was
I was not ready at all.
I was not ready.
I was
Oh, okay.
definitely like operating in a fugue state all day, but I definitely took a week. I didn't go anywhere fancy. I just took a week to relax and catch up on sleep, and that's spent it with family. That's pretty much all I did.
Hey, sounds great, actually. That sounds like a great holiday. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the man of 1,000 impressions. They got hello to all, whoever that is. I'm sorry, it says Facebook user, so I apologize. But hello to you too. Oh, that's very nice. Handy says hi, Nicholas, or hi, Nicole. I thought you said hi, Nicholas. I can't read. It's a new year. I still can't read. The show's going down already, and we just started. So come on, Nick. But Mr. Handy, how are you? Happy New Year. How's it going, my friend?
Merry New Year to everyone. It is very good. Beef jerky time. I'm very happy to be here.
I know you are.
Look, great New Year's weekend. I know you guys saw my Facebook post, and that was not something that I just made up on the spur of the moment to be funny. That was literally my reaction.
Oh, sure.
And my wife didn't bat an eye. God bless her. We've been together 13 years. She's just like, "Are you happy, darling?" I'm like, "I'm very, very happy to be here." So, and then I got to go in today and poke a little good-natured fun at the cybersecurity manager, who is an Ohio State fan. But she was like, "You know what?" She was like, "You know what, though? It was a great game." And I said, "That's what the people who don't win say." But
that's sure.
So yeah, great weekend, absolutely great weekend. Was asleep by midnight local time, and
okay.
Well, dude, I was spent. I spent 4 hours.
Sure, yes.
Touchdown, interception.
It was a lot.
That game was definitely a roller coaster. So yeah,
and then watching the one before that, going, "Hey, Michigan, fight back,
fight back. Come on, man, come on."
Anyway, yeah, I'm ready to rock, bro. Let's go.
All right. Well, no, I'm happy to hear that, and I'm glad that you're all joining us again. Thank you out there for already commenting and tuning in. We do appreciate that totally. It's a new year, so hopefully we can grab a whole new audience along with the people who have been watching. And as you know, as always, how do we start every game, program, everything? Started with a coin toss. All right. Well, as you know, generally we like to keep it lighthearted and fun around here at the old Roundtable. But for For those of you who have, been watching and who anybody who was watching the Monday night game last night, you do know There was a serious injury to Damar Hamlin on that hit with that collision with T. Higgins. He went into cardiac arrest on the field, which honestly, it was very jarring for those maybe who didn't see it. Definitely watch at your own peril because it really is kind of a gruesome thing to see and to just see the aftermath of that with everything that happened. But we do want to talk a little bit about that, and also bring up the issue of player safety in the NFL. And again, we know this was a freak accident, and we're very, everybody's praying for Damar Hamlin and his family and all that. But it does bring up a lot of questions, and it does bring up a lot of different things. And so we did want to tackle this. I know we usually like to keep it lighthearted around here, but definitely wanted to talk about this today. It's on everybody's heart and mind. And just to give a quick update to my understanding, so if anybody has any more information, please pass it along. But the last I heard, Damar is down to using 50% oxygen to breathe and everything. They still ask for your continued prayers. The family appreciates the support and all that. So keep that up. But that's at least encouraging news, I think, to go from 100% to 50% on oxygen. But obviously, still a long road ahead of Damar. But Tina, I will start with you. I mean, when something like this happens, there's two sides to all these coins. What was just your impression in general? I don't know if you watched it live or saw the replay, but what was your general impression of everything that happened there?
I saw the replay. I honestly wasn't watching the game, but
Okay.
it's disturbing. I mean, you can literally just see him just jump right into cardiac arrest. And like you said, I mean, it was a freak accident. This isn't something that like the NFL can test for, determine, or see if something's going on. I mean, these are guys that are at the top athletic ability and they're keeping themselves in prime condition. So that's probably why he's recovering so fast. But it's just another example in the NFL in this season of player safety being an issue. And so I kind of said it earlier when the ladies and us were talking. I was like, this one's a little bit of a freak, but the situation with Tua, that's the one that I'm having the harder time with because that one was preventable. That one, there's supposed to be protocols in place. And it happened again. Is this his second or third time he's gotten a concussion? I can't remember.
That would be the actual third time he's in protocol. Yes, third time.
Yeah, and people are like, one season, and people are like, well, he could have said something. It's like he's a rookie quarterback who's trying to make a name for himself on the team. If you're not telling him no, he's going out there. It's just there's bigger adults in that situation. So those are kind of my thoughts. I've seen my team just get decimated with injury after injury after injury after injury. And
Right.
It's not just my team. There's other teams that this year, like, I don't know what happened with conditioning. Like, people are just having season-ending injuries left and right. So I don't know what the answer is.
And that's a great question. And that's what I'm going to pose to Delilah because Delilah, as you know, they shortened the preseason by a week to add an extra game during the season. So I would ask you, do you think that's had an effect on the rash of injuries that we've had this year? And also, of course, any other commentary you'd like to give on Damar Hamlin or Tua as well?
Yeah. Well, first with Damar, so there's no precedent for going to cardiac arrest, obviously, in the field. However, well, that's not correct because Kate and Nick were talking about, like, I wasn't born yet, but apparently, during a Bears and Lions game, a player did die, on the field after getting hit. And so saying there's no precedent, that's actually untrue because, something similar, even though not the exact heart issue, right? Because it was a different heart injury, but still. I think the problem is, which I don't know if people, so there is a call, by the way, and I don't know if there are a lot of people, medical scientists, and experts who are saying that the NFL shouldn't exist as it is, right? Because they're saying that obviously you can't 100% protect players. You can't. It's impossible, right? Because it's a contact sport. So there is a call, and I just want to throw it out that there are a lot of people who support the tackle football not existing. So just, you could do the studies, you could look at the research, the CTE, that stuff is real. Look what's happening to Tua, like we're saying. This kid is 24 years old. His mom is in the stands and watching what she probably thinks she's watching her son die in front of her. And I think that, and I think we have to remember that players are people. And this isn't the good old days of football anymore. Like, I think we need to get out of that mentality too. It's not everyone. I actually see more the opposite. I actually do see more fans care about player safety, which is why you hear people saying, hey, what are you doing with these players? They're holding teams in the NFL more accountable than they did in the past. Like that mentality is out the window because we've seen men who have said, sadly are legends. We've seen them die in poverty due to medical problems, right? We sadly have seen legends that played football in the 60s, 70s, and 80s end up in medical bankruptcy because they can't take care of themselves post football. And then if you're not an elite NFL player and you're still hurt, you don't have the same care, right? The same access to wealth and the same, you know what I mean? You just don't have the same access to personnel. And so I do think that needs to be handled a lot better. Like, I do believe that it should be more equitable, and that regardless of what your status is, these kids are because they come in as kids, they're putting their bodies on the line every day for a sport that they love. They love the sport. We know that. Like, I know that if you spoke to Damar and think hopefully he recuperates 100%, I know he'll tell you he'll go back out there again. You know what I mean? Like, with Tua, I agree. I think the fact that he's had 3 concussions in the span of a few months is actually pretty alarming. The NFL Players Association insists that the day of, he didn't show, quote unquote, according to them, right, any signs of a concussion symptoms until the next day. Now, I don't know because I'm not a doctor. I'm not sure how concussion symptoms show up, but they insist that on the field at that time that he wasn't showing signs of a concussion, and it wasn't until the following day. Yeah, I think that's why we do have more fan support for player health. I agree. I think the Tua thing is really scary, and honestly, it's a little nerve-wracking. I hope he doesn't play, and I know that sucks because to Miami fans, they're like, okay, well, what do we do? But what's more important? What is more important, winning the game or allowing your quarterback the season to heal so he could possibly, maybe, come back next season and hopefully, pray to God that 10 years down the line, we're not hearing about this, Tua becoming a product of CTE, because we've heard multiple things of what's happened, right? We know that sadly players have committed suicide. The statistics are there, okay, or have committed acts of violence against others because their brain has suffered so many injuries that their brain no longer functions the way normal brain should. And I don't know, but yeah, I think that we need to ask ourselves as fans, who love the sport, what is more important to you? Do you know that those people, that they're humans? They're human beings. And I think that's what we need to remember, is that they are human beings. They might be these massive guys, right, that go out there and have this amazing athleticism and perform these feats of strength. But at the end of the day, these are human beings. And I think that we really need to rethink who we are as fans and how we want to see this game progress, because I don't want the NFL to end. But I do feel that there's things that we can do that are better for player safety, right? I think that there are better protocols that could be put in place. I think that there's a lot of things that can be done to make this a lot safer, but also think about about the player's overall health in general. And I don't think it has to do with preseason. I think it does have to do more with conditioning. Like, I don't know what they're doing in practice anymore. I don't know if they're spending the time that they need to in the in training camp, right? We see these guys skip training camps all the time. Should they be? You know what I mean? Should we be allowing the skipping of training camps? Should you not be part of of that strength and conditioning team, or set the tone for that? So, I feel like that's huge to me, is the strength and conditioning part. But also, yeah, let's I feel like there has to be a better way in 2023 with the improvement of medical science and technology. I feel that there's a better way in which we could protect players. Sorry, I think I went on a rant. Apologies.
No, that's
Anthony?
okay. I mean, again, it's a hot
Took your
button
turn.
issue, like because I know everybody has opinions on this, and that's the whole thing. It's like, see, we got a Jim Melvin here. A number of NFL players have died because of their time in the NFL, but it's typically years and sometimes decades down the road. This was the rarest case where it almost happened right before our eyes. The NFL has been skirting a fine line for a long, long time. Okay, that's definitely one opinion. Jim, we do appreciate you chiming in. But Handy, I'll ask you. I mean, you've been watching football a long time, my friend. Um, what can the NFL do? Again, this was a freak accident, but obviously with the Tua thing, that brings up the larger issue. What can the NFL do in all honesty, because again, you have so many things at play here, right? With the players' union and contracts and this and that, and money becomes involved, and people start, how that can be. But what can the NFL do to help prevent things like Tua from happening? Because again, as you said, 3 concussions within a few months. That poor guy. I mean, he could already be messed up for the rest of his life and not even know it. What
Yeah.
what do you got to say, Anthony?
And Ben touched on something that I was going to talk about. I mean, Junior Seau committed suicide, and he had even with all that was going on, he had the presence of mind to shoot himself in the chest so that they could examine his brain. But this thing with the CTE has been going on for a long time, and I mean, when I was playing football back in the 70s and the 80s, it was just something you got your bell rung. So as far as I know, I might have had a concussion or two playing football, but that was just something, you boom, and then your head rung for a little bit, and you were a little dizzy, and you went out for a couple plays, you went back in, and you knocked pads some more. But now, knowing what we know and knowing the long-term damage that could cause, the long-term effects, listen, you ask me what the NFL can do, they can do a hell of a lot more than what they're doing. Every single one of those franchises owner is a billionaire. Period. Every single one of their bosses is a billionaire. They could do a hell of a lot more than they're doing. The CTE issue, ever since it started coming up, and it started coming up, and it started coming up, and it started coming up. I mean, I remember seeing Antonio Brown laid out on the field. Okay, and now look what's going on with him. Richard Sherman has had some problems. I mean, and Richard Sherman is not an unintelligent guy. Richard Sherman has had some Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde moments as of late in the last 4 or 5 years. You get Tua. I'm just going to say it. I hated watching him play at Alabama, but I hated watching him play because he was so damn good and he was always beating my team. But I say this now, not because he played for Bama, but for his own health and safety. If the Dolphins give a damn about Tua Tagovailoa, they will tell him, look, we're going to sit you down. Your contract's already covered. You understand what I'm saying? Now the freak things you can't, like the Joe Theismann type injuries and the busted ACLs. There's nothing that they can really do to prevent that, short of making it flag ball. And
Right.
I've seen dudes tear Achilles and ACLs playing flag football. But as far as the CTE and things like that, if a dude gets his bell rung, he does not play. Period. He don't go back in next week. He don't go in the week after. He's sitting out for at least a 2 to 3 week minimum.
Right.
Because they're gonna make that money anyway. Why? They're talking, oh well, we lose money. All 32 teams split the television revenue, do they not?
Yeah, I think
Don't
so.
they get a portion of the ad? Doesn't the portion of the ad revenue come to the NFL and all that?
Yeah, the teams do get some part of that. Yes, correct.
Right. And Roger Goodell gets like a 7-figure salary a year, right? To do a whole lot of nothing, but get booed at the draft every year, and maybe occasionally go, well, you can't play for 3 games if somebody act up, right?
Right.
So if they can afford all of that money, why can't they afford to take care of the people that have? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because without these players, these guys would not be billionaires.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I think, and honestly, I don't know how true this whole thing was. The story about the NFL saying, because there's all different stories going around, the NFL saying, well, you got him off the field. You guys are going back out on the field in 5 minutes. I don't know the truth to that, but if that is true, the NFL can kiss all of my behind because I'm already tired. I'm already tired. I've been griping and complaining about these horrible games all season. Y'all kiss all of my behind because it's been obvious for years. It doesn't. They do a lot of lip service about how much they care about the players, but do they really? They do enough. They do enough to get the people to come in, like they did the thing with Sean Taylor with Sean Taylor at Commanders Park and things like that. You understand what I'm saying? And that was a guy that was loved by all the fans. They keep trotting his name out every time something happened, and Dan Snyder get in trouble, caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Oh, we painted the 21 on the field. They don't. They've shown that they don't care. Now I can't speak for all the franchises, but overall as a league, I'm sorry. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, we got a young man who's a host on several of our shows had 5 concussions in high school. You understand what I'm saying? It's a violent sport. So if he had gone on to play college and maybe gone on to play pro, Lord only knows what had happened to him. And I'm sorry. I don't mean
don't apologize.
I don't mean to be that guy.
You played the game.
I don't mean to be the non-Uncle Shay Shay version of Uncle Shay Shay today. But the NFL is just not doing right by these players when it comes to things like that. And then hearing that story, I try to keep it reeled in because I wasn't there. I don't know if it happened or not. But if it turned out to be true, NFL is.
Well, that was the thing watching it because, like I said, obviously I didn't know what happened right away either. I was not watching the game at the time, and I heard our group chat all of a sudden started lighting up with the comments. So I turned on the game then to see what was happening. And they, again, like you said, Anthony, we don't know if it's 100% true, but it did say that at some point they started warming up again after they took him off the field. They told the players to warm up, that they're going to give them 5 minutes to get together, and they were thinking about starting the game again. And then that's when the coaches, Zach Taylor and
across the field. Yep.
Yeah, they I always forget the coach from Buffalo's name, Mick. What's his name? Oh, somebody help me out. But anyways, the coaches got together and they started talking, and it seemed like it was after that conversation that the teams went to the locker rooms, and that's when and then they started calling, or the NFL called, New York called, whatever it was, and they started having the conversations because they kept showing then they showed the meeting of the referees with the coaches in the hallway, and then they showed the people on the phone with whatever. So at some point, obviously the NFL was involved the whole way with this. So again, we don't know if that's true or not, but I just think it really does make you wonder, because again, especially with the Tua thing, and my opinion on this is simply this: you saw Sean McDermott. Thank you very much, Ben. I knew it was mixed something, so I do appreciate that. Thank you very much, Ben. But the second hit on Tua, when he came back after that first concussion, when you saw him get up and hit, he wobbled. It was almost like he would have fallen down if they would not have been there to catch his. Yeah, no, it truly was, and I'm like, why is this guy in the game? Yeah. Literally the week before he leaves the game, he's back the next week and gets hit again.
Yeah. We thought he was paralyzed. Remember, what? For a split second, we're like,
split second, right?
Is paralyzed.
And you can blame the NFL, but I got to blame the Dolphins on that one. I'm just saying, that's his team, that's 100%. His coach, that's his, you're like, man, did you not see the way that poor kid took that? And again, here's the thing: as we all know, the Dolphins have to win this week to keep their playoff chances alive. They're 8-8. They've lost so many games now that they're 8-8 and on their way out if they can't win. And it's like, well, does that still justify Tua playing just because you're playing for a playoff spot?
Hell no.
Well, no, not in my book. Not in my book either. 100% right. Exactly. 100%. And it's like, but would I be surprised if Tua plays on Sunday? Absolutely not. And to me, that's the shame of it all. Do you know what I mean? That's the thing that bothers me more than anything.
That comes from
in that situation,
fan base.
But I'm just saying, right? Regardless of who it comes from, it's like this is the one thing to remember. And the guy who said it best, I was watching. I kept on SportsCenter after the game was suspended because they had Scott Van Pelt and Ryan Clark on there, and this is about human beings. These are people, okay? Exactly. Above all else, forget about football, forget about fantasy football, forget about your betting lines, forget about all that crap.
Thank you.
These are human beings.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't give a shit if you lost your fantasy football league yesterday
Right.
because Buffalo and Cincinnati didn't play. I don't really care. What I care about is that poor kid lying in the hospital at 24 years old. Who, we don't know what's going to happen to him.
Tell it.
We don't know how long. This guy's a brother. I mean, this guy's a brother. He had a sibling there.
Yes.
This guy's a son. This guy, this guy has a family, and you're worrying about an effing football game.
Exactly.
Like Anthony said, kiss my entire Mexican, Puerto Rican, Italian behind, because that is what I'm saying to you.
Yes.
Right? And and I'm not a small man, so I will make sure I don't shower for 5 days, and then you can kiss my behind and take that, because that's what I have to say about that.
I agree.
And I'm done. If anybody has anything else, feel free, because I'm finished. I'm done. I am done. That is
that smoke. There's that smoke.
I got 2 things to say. One, Nick,
there you go.
See what is on my shirt where it says "Stay salty"? Go for it.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree 100%.
I'm sorry. I had to do it. I had to do it.
Yeah.
I just could not stay quiet about that particular. Yeah.
Nick, I love you.
And to go along with what Handy was saying, is that one, if you're not going to give the medical personnel there the deciding factor on whether or not that person had a concussion on the field, and they have the make or break opinion, fine. NFL, boom, across the line. You get knocked, your head hits anywhere, you're off the field. These guys are too big, too fast. The game is different. It's not the same game they were playing back in the 50s and the 60s. And it took the NFL 20 years to come up with a better helmet.
Exactly.
So that they wouldn't be getting these CTEs. And I actually had a friend when I was working at the law firm, her daughter was working at the place where they were getting all these ex-NFL players CTE and checking their brains and everything.
Yeah.
Junior Seau, they said, when he was in his late 20s, his brain scan came back as a 90-year-old man with Alzheimer's.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how bad this shit is. Excuse me, probably shouldn't swear. So I'm 100% agreeing with you on this. The Tua thing pisses me off more than anything. Because like I said, there were bigger adults in that situation than Tua. And they should have been adults. And they should be protecting these guys.
I agree.
Because if you're not protecting these guys, owners, you're losing money. Because they're going to have a career-ending knee injury if they're a running back. They're going to have their bell rang so bad they're not going to be able to be a wide receiver anymore. There's all this shit going on. So if you talk about how these guys are the base and everything, you got to be able to tell your fans, I'm sorry, this is about being human. This is about protecting. Honestly, you want to use their terms? This is about protecting my investment in that man. If that's the way you're going to talk about it that way. I don't care. But do the right thing and not just throw somebody back out because you'll make more money if you go to the playoffs.
Right. I agree.
And I've also heard something. I'll have to find the video that was on TikTok. And I don't think this is across the board. I'm also wondering if some of these players are slightly throwing their concussion tests because they have to do a concussion test. They have to take a test in the beginning. And then if they have a concussion, they have to take the exact same test again. If they do better than they did on their original one, they're seen as not having a concussion.
Ah, interesting. Okay. See,
so there are some guys out there will do this because they know they're going to get their bell rung. It's going to happen, and they don't want to come to the game.
Right.
That's why I'm saying you hit your head, you're out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So. See, and that's the thing, though. What Tina said there, like, that's the sad fact. And you could say that these are grown men. A lot of people don't really realize these are kids out of college. A lot of them. They're 22, 23, 24. Like, I'm sorry. I know what my dumbass was like at 23 and 24, and I wouldn't have made a sane decision on my health if I was thought it was making me millions of dollars. I'd be like, I'm in there, coach. Let's go. Yeah.
Put me back
and it's like somebody. Tina said it perfectly.
They don't know.
Right. There are bigger adults in that room. There are management people, coaches. You guys are responsible for these young men and their health and safety. I don't care if they are professionals. You are responsible for them as their coach and as their manager and all that stuff. Sit the kid down. Think about him for a minute instead of the dollar signs or whatever else you got going on in your head about playoffs or all this stuff. And your job, you might
getting
get
booed
fired
by
because
the
the team has a losing
fans.
record.
Yeah,
Yeah, getting booed by
think
people,
they
right?
should. I think Miami fans too, not just Miami, but I also feel like we have to recognize that we're culpable, right? And I think that we need to again throw away, like you said. I think that the majority of us need to stop going, oh, my fantasy team. You know, that's why the players always come out every season. They're like, I don't care about your fantasy team, right? And then fans get mad. They're like, they don't care about you. They're doing their job. Their job is they're a football player. They don't care about your stat lines or your whatever. Like, they're not focusing on that. And so I think as fans, I think that we need to do better. Like, I am very happy the way the Cincinnati fans reacted. That's how we should react. Yes, cancel the game. No one booed. No one was upset. We should follow their example of how you treat these kinds of situations. Miami fans, y'all need to just rise up. I get it. I'm sorry because you guys were on a good run. But what's more important for you? The long-term health of your quarterback who you're supporting and saying this is your franchise QB, or sorry, making these playoffs. Like, honestly, what is more important to you?
Miami fans really tripping like that about
like,
who we're playing?
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hit or miss. I'm not seeing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not seeing a lot of people actually pushing for him not to play, and I feel that they need to, because we just saw someone go into cardiac arrest. Your brain and your heart, I don't think people understand, are the two most important organs in your body.
Yeah, I suppose they are, right? Exactly.
So I don't think, like, you know how this man, we just saw a young man go into cardiac arrest. What do you think happens when someone has a severe blow to the head? They can end up paralyzed. It could stop your speech function. It could set off, different types of that's not how you get Parkinson's disease, but it does exacerbate the issue. We saw what happened with Muhammad Ali in his later years, right? So again, it does create a lot of long-term awful things for you. So you really need to start thinking about that. I think fans, we have to do better because we are the money makers, right? We're the ones watching TV. We're the one buying the merchandise. We're the one buying the tickets. And so we do have more power than we think. And I think we really need to push that and go, hey, you know what's more important? My team, the human being, like all four of them is saying, that's out on that field. They're more important. Their safety is more important. Their health is more important than that game that day. And so kudos to Cincinnati fans. Seriously, they showed a lot of man, that 100%. Was awesome. That they did great.
They even showed outside the stadium. They had Buffalo fans and Cincinnati fans together praying outside the stadium after they all left.
Yeah.
Like, these people were totally in sync with each other, which was really, like I said, great to see. And it's just so.
More of that.
But I did want to take a moment because, like I said, for those of you who may not understand exactly what happened with Damar Hamlin, we do have a quick video that I'd like to show you from a sports medicine doctor who kind of explains this particular freak thing that happened. So, Delilah, if you could cue that up, I'd like you guys to watch this video real quick.
What we just witnessed tonight is one of the most rare things we can see in sports medicine, as Damar Hamlin went down with what appeared to be cardiac arrest after taking this hit on the field. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and on this channel, I try to teach you about the sports medicine world and give you some insight into what we see on the field. What we saw happen tonight is not related to any sort of vaccines. This is almost certainly something called commotio cordis, an extremely rare condition that's one of those things that we typically only think we're going to read about in textbooks. Essentially, what can happen is if you have a blunt trauma to the chest that occurs at exactly the right time in the cardiac electrical cycle, your heart can be sent into cardiac arrest. As Hamlin comes in here, we can see this square hit to the front of his chest. We see him get back up momentarily before ultimately collapsing back down to the ground and requiring CPR on the field. This is a tracing of our heart's electrical activity. Basically, this is one cycle of the heart squeezing. It starts off with this P wave, which is the electrical activity of the atrium at the top of the heart squeezing, then the QRS complex, which is going to be the ventricles acting. But then the last phase is this T wave, where the ventricle basically depolarizes and kind of resets to get ready for the next cycle. For commotio cordis to happen, you have to suffer this blunt trauma to the chest at exactly the right moment, specifically on this upstroke of the T wave, in order for the heart to then be sent into this arrhythmia and subsequent cardiac arrest. This is one of those things that not only do you have to have a high enough force, but it has to happen within milliseconds of a time window, because if that impact comes at any other time in this electrical cycle, you're fine. You don't go into this. But when it happens at just this right time during this upstroke of the T wave, and if it's high enough, then you can have this thing called commotio cordis. We typically think of it happening in baseball players whenever they get hit in the middle of the chest with a hard thrown ball. But unfortunately, that looks like what is most likely to have happened here with Hamlin. Treatment like this is obviously CPR and defibrillation as quickly as possible, because this can absolutely be a life-threatening thing. Again, this is not something that people should go speculate about vaccines or anything like that causing this cardiac arrest. There was a clear contact, a clear trauma, and I think a clear reason why, unfortunately, this happened for Hamlin. My thoughts and prayers go out to the player, go out to his family, everybody else there on the field, the medical staff taking care of him. This is an extremely, extremely serious thing. One of those conditions that, like I said, you hope, you pray you never actually see as a medical provider. But hopefully this was educational. Let me know, as always, any questions or comments down below. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad that he was able to break that down and kind of explain exactly, again, it was a freak accident. It's a very unfortunate thing to have had happen. But yeah, I just, like I said, again, I can't do anything, but my heart goes out to the family. Our prayers go out to the family. And again, an encouraging word, hopefully, that he's on 50% oxygen now instead of 100%. And again, being a 24-year-old man who's in pretty good shape, hopefully he can recover. And it's not even about football. I just hope he can recover as a human, physically, walk, and not have any lingering injuries from this, be able to get up and go do things. I mean, he's still a young man, 24, still got, potentially his whole life ahead of him. So, yeah, you hope he can recover quickly. Go ahead, Anthony.
If he never plays another down of football again, he has already done more than most of the rest of us that had any type of sports aspirations ever had. He was a professional football player for an NFL franchise. And he came up as a 6th round. I think it was a 6th rounder.
Something like that.
I think it was a 6th rounder.
Somewhere in there, yes. Somewhere in there, yes.
And then he made his way off the bench onto the field as a starter.
Yeah.
So I mean,
University of Pittsburgh kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, so yeah, that might be a little disappointing, but I don't know. Life just sounds a lot sweeter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I do wish, we all do wish him well, and he has a very speedy recovery.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, listen, I want to thank everyone for that. I mean, I know everybody's passionate about this. I appreciate everyone's opinion for sure. But we're going to take a.
We can talk all night about this.
No, I know. And believe me
about this, but we go.
But you're right. We got to move on.
Right. Yeah. We're going to move on. But we're going to take a quick. We're going to take a quick break. Let everybody readjust, and we will be back in just a minute or so. So enjoy this little video break. All right. That was very quick, but we are adjusted. Everybody's good. Everybody's great. Again, thank everyone for their comments. Thank everybody for watching right now. Happy New Year to you again if you're just tuning in. Our next segment is one that has become very popular on the show. So let us go ahead and go with that. This is This Week in NFL History. All right, Delilah, take it away. This Week in NFL History.
Sorry, it's weird running the video clip for my own segment. Because then I'm like, oh, let me get ready. All right. Well, because it's the first few days of January that we're looking at in this week in the NFL. So not too much kind of went down, but we'll start with the first. In 1967, back when it's called the NFL Championship in the Cotton Bowl, Dallas versus Green Bay Packers. The Packers beat the Dallas Cowboys 34-27 in that game. Then January 2nd, 1966. And then we went back a year, but different day, right? January 2nd. We get it, right? The National Football League again, but this time at Lambeau. The Green Bay Packers beat the Cleveland Browns here. But what made this different was it was the first NFL title game televised in color. And the last one played before the Super Bowl era. So then we started going into the Super Bowl. So that's what made that one special at Lambeau Field. So here we go. January 3rd, 1983. Dallas running back Tony Dorsett sets the NFL record with 99-yard rush in the Cowboys' 31-27 defeat at the Minnesota Vikings. 1993 was the comeback. QB Frank Reich leads Buffalo Bills back from a 32-point deficit to defeat the Houston Oilers. You guys remember that team? 41-38 in overtime in a wild card playoff game. The greatest comeback ever in NFL history. That might have changed.
It was 35-3 at halftime. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it was 35-3. I watched that game live with my father. 35-3. Houston Oilers, Warren Moon, you guys were killing them. Sorry, Delilah, I know this is your segment, but
no, I
they
love
were
it. Thank
killing
you.
them. 35-3.
I love it.
And you lose. You lose.
It was a heck of a game.
I
But
got, you know what? I'm thoroughly disgusted right now by all of this. That's it.
it sounds like a scintillating. I remember that game. It was a hell of a game, but I forgot what the score was at halftime.
Well, 32-point
I don't
deficit.
think Nick will ever forget.
Oh my god, that was funny. I'm sorry. Oh wow. January 3rd, 2004. Panthers kicker John Casey ties NFL playoff record with 5 field goals to lead the Carolina to 29-10 win over the Cowboys in a wild card round of playoffs in Charlotte, North Carolina. This happened in 2004. I actually remember that one. January 3rd, 2007. High-profile Miami Dolphins NFL head coach Nick Saban resigns after agreeing to return to college football. You college football folks, you guys remember this time? He decided to go back and took the coaching job at Alabama.
Delilah, you were on fire this week because if you guys remember correctly, sorry to interrupt again. I'm telling you, this week I'm just fired up.
Woo, yeah.
They could have had Drew Brees. They passed on Drew Brees. They signed him, but because of his shoulder, they did not want to take him. And that was under Nick Saban. They let Drew Brees walk away and go to the Saints. And I bet that's probably why he went back to college and said, no, I'm out of here, man, because I just made the biggest mistake of my life. And that's it. Nick Saban lasted, one season in Miami? Moon lost to Elway the year before, and they came in. Yeah, that's true, Sean. Sean Spencer, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment. I'm telling you, this week I've just been triggered for some reason. Everybody, you guys are talking about everything that has just set me off. I better just be quiet. I'm sorry, Delilah. Back to your segment. I'm glad
that was the last one. Nick Saban saying, "See ya, NFL."
Yeah. I mean, fabulous, fantastic. College coach. Obviously, we know what Alabama's done. Their resume, their pedigree. Got it. He won the title at LSU as well. So great for Nick Saban. We're so happy, but horrible NFL coach. Didn't work out well.
Sean is with you on that
Passed on a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Sean is with you about that stat.
Yeah, and I was a huge Warren Moon fan as well, so it was disappointing to see them give up a 32-point lead to the Bills, who ended up losing the damn Super Bowl anyways because they lost all 4. Yes. What the hell? I'm done. That's it.
I'm glad. I'm glad this week's facts were fun. That's why
those were beautiful. Those were great. You brought up a lot of memories for me. Thanks, Delilah. That's beautiful.
I appreciate it. I'm here to bring up the facts and memories too sometimes, apparently.
Right, exactly. There you go. All right. Well, now that Nick has hyperventilated a little bit, let's calm down a bit. We're going to go on to our next segment. This is, of course, our Game of the Week segment, but usually we do one game and we talk about it, but this week there's a lot on the line for these teams involved in these 3 games, so I thought these would be 3 games to truly talk about. Again, you see Jets-Dolphins is their first. Again, you heard about what we had to say about Tua in the first segment. This is a huge game for the Dolphins. They have to win if they're going to have a chance to get into the playoffs. Apparently they need some help as well from a few other teams. So, Tina. Jets-Dolphins this week. What do you think? What do you see? What do you know?
Is Wilson playing or is Mike playing at quarterback for the Jets?
The last I heard, Mike White, I thought was going to start, but that's the last I heard.
I'm going to have to say if Tua doesn't play, I think it's probably going to be the Jets. I would like to see the Dolphins win to show, even if Tua's not in the game, because I'd like them to be able to say, hey, you know what, we did the right thing and we still won. But I mean, the Dolphins have lost 8 in a row. I mean, they're when they had such high hopes in the beginning. And I'm beginning to wonder if some of these concussions and some of these things that Tua has affected his play. through the rest of the year. Like maybe they're not calling certain calls they should be calling because they don't want to put him in a situation where he could get hurt even more. We don't know, but like I said, I think it's going to be the Jets. But that one's literally a coin toss.
For sure. Delilah, quick. It doesn't have to be quick, but your opinion on Jets Dolphins? What do you think?
I don't know because I'm not sold on Mike White either. I'm just
Better
not.
than Wilson.
I'm not so. It sucks because to me, I think the Jets actually have a really great team overall. They just can't figure out that quarterback thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just they got Sauce. We know that kid, right? He was one of our rookie spotlight. They got, I know the running back went out. We know that was a huge loss for them. But hopefully he'll be back next season. So I feel overall, their defense actually, gets the job done. Honestly, it's just I feel like if they can get just that QB part figured out, they're going to be a heck of a team next season, honestly, because they have everything else. Honestly, the only thing that's missing is it doesn't have to be an elite quarterback. Seriously, it just has to be. We've talked about it before. A serviceable quarterback will get you what you need. Look what Geno's doing in Seattle, right? We're never going to call him an elite, but the guy is getting it done, right? He's getting it done. And so I feel like, and it's kind of funny I'm saying that because we know that, the Jets drafted Geno when he knocked them out of the contention. But anyway, but I do think that all the Jets need is a quarterback. I don't think they'll ever find another Joe Namath, right? But definitely need. They just need a quarterback. That's all they need. And I would be very careful next season if they figure that piece out because I think they're going to be a team to beat. Like really up there, they're going to be better than this season if they can figure that piece out.
Hell, the Jets would probably settle for another Ken O'Brien at this point. Anything that's just better than what they've had, right?
Yeah, because come on, are you guys sold on any of these guys? Are you guys really sold on Mike White? Come on, let's be honest.
No, not necessarily, but he's played better. Good. Yeah, go ahead, Tina. Go ahead.
Sean, you don't want my thoughts on Sauce.
All the more reason why you should give them, Tina. Right, let's go. Let's go.
Pads. If you can see shoulder pads, it's interference. The man grabs jerseys more than I've seen anybody else, and I don't know how he gets away with it. But, okay.
Oh, God, that was good. And Sean laughs. There you go. Exactly. Sean trying to trigger everybody now, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Mr. Handy, we have not heard from you yet, sir, on Jets Dolphins. What do you got to say?
No Tua, no Hua. Jets take it all.
Yeah.
Real simple.
And you're going to give me the Forrest Gump line. That's all I have to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that.
There it is. But you know what? I'm kind of with you, though. Like, if Tua doesn't play, the Dolphins, because like I said, the Dolphins just seem like they don't play with confidence anymore, regardless of what's going on. And they've just looked so, like you said, so bad in these last few, 6, 7, 8 weeks, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, they just have looked bad. They don't look confident. They don't look like the team that started the season as hot as they did. Was it 8-1? Like they just don't seem like that at all. No, I know. And as I said, like that should be all the more reason to be honest with you. Why Tua should sit, and if they lose, they lose. You're out of the playoffs. You're out of the. I know Ken O'Brien was legit. That's why I brought it up. The Jets could use another Ken O'Brien, my friend, because he did. And what people don't know, he was in that draft with all the quarterbacks: Marino, Kelly. Mm-hmm. Ken O'Brien was right in there with all of them in that '83 draft. So
all those guys.
Ken O'Brien was legit. Ken O'Brien was the man in New York for a little bit when they had some success. Joe Klecko, what was it? Mark Gastineau on defense. That was a great Jets team. But okay, I digress. Back to what we're talking.
Yes.
But done, man. Triggered left and right today. I don't know what's going on. I might need a beer after this show. I'm telling you, I might go drink some alcohol or something, calm myself down.
What are you talking about?
Well, I probably do. You're probably right, Handy. If I had one, I'd drink one, but I do not. But yeah, I'm thinking it actually might be better for the Dolphins. No lie, whether they tank or not, or don't. Not that they will. But you know what? Just take this. Let Tua sit. Take this season off. Let him regroup. If he's going to be able to play, let him get all that rest in. Let him get all his tests done. Let him figure all that out and come back next year with the team you got. And I guarantee you could still smoke everybody in the AFC in that regard. So I would just, shut it down, man. Be done with it and go from there. Again, we've talked about that extensively in the first segment. So let's move on I'm going to go to Titans-Jaguars next. We'll save Packers-Lions for last for a lot of reasons. But Titans-Jaguars, this is obvious for the AFC South Division, right? Yeah, the NFL Sack Exchange. All right, Sean, look, if you're going to read my mind or just keep going with me, like, it's not just you and I on the show, buddy. We got other stuff to do. He just keeps throwing up stuff that he knows I'm going to respond to. It's like, he just keep feeding me, Sean. Go ahead. I got it. I love you, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, so let's go to Titans-Jaguars, everybody. Obviously, this is a game for the AFC South. Now, there is a scenario, which I found it hard to believe, but I did read this. Even if the Jaguars lose and the Titans get the division, if the Patriots, Steelers, and who was the other team that's vying for that last playoff spot lose, the Jaguars can still get in even with a loss. I mean, all that other stuff has to happen, so that's a lot. But so Titans-Jaguars, Tina, what do you think here? What's your opinion?
I think this is a toss-up one, but I actually think I'm going to go with Jacksonville for this one. They're actually kind of I'm looking at what their record is right now, and they're kind of on a little bit of a hot streak right now. It's crazy. I'm looking at the thing. I think it's Miami, Pittsburgh, and New England. If they all lose their games,
right. Miami,
either one of those teams is going to make it in. But the other thing that's strange about that one is that's actually also a 50-50. Like somebody could get in that's literally 8-8 or 9-8, just barely having a winning record.
8-9 if they all lose.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's crazy too. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so I thought Jaguars win and they're in, yes? So they win the division?
Yes.
No, if they win, if they beat Titans, then they win the division. They're the 4th seed.
Okay. Sorry, it threw me off with all the other crazy. I'm like, wait, what?
Right. Okay, real quick, what it is if they win the game outright, if Jacksonville beats Tennessee, they're the 4th seed and the AFC South champion. If the Titans win, they're the champion and the number 4 seed, and then the Jaguars can only get in if, as Tina said, those other 3 teams lose as well. Okay. Then the Jaguars, for some reason, have the 4-way tiebreaker and get the 7th seed. I don't pretend to understand how that works, but yeah.
No, I appreciate
anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's what threw me off. Yeah. Thank you, Tina, and thank you, Nick.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah, it's complicated. It truly is. The NFC is a little easier to figure out, so we'll get to that in a minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tina. Were you still going? I didn't know if you were.
Nope.
You're good. Okay, no, I didn't. Delilah, then I'll go to you next on Titans Jaguars. What do you think?
Jaguars, man. I'm going with Jaguars. I've never been sold on Ryan Tannehill on the show. You guys know that. I've been saying that since last season. I'm not sold on that guy. I haven't been sold on this guy. I told y'all this is not the dude. He's not going to take him to the Super Bowl. Everybody's like, no, I'm right. He's not going to take him to the Super Bowl, okay? So it's not going to happen.
We almost beat him this year.
So I'm like, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. And, Malik isn't ready yet. I'm not saying he can't be later. He just needs more development. I think he does, I think it's smart to make sure he gets developed more as a rookie and then come back in. So I still think he has potential. He just definitely needs way more support and training to be NFL ready. So I understand why they're not starting him. But so I get that decision. I think that is a smart decision by the Titans. But I'm going to go with your guy, Trevor Lawrence, because I know that's your dude, Nick.
Yeah, I love Trevor Lawrence.
I think he's going to go out there. I think he's going to have a good day. And I think the Jaguars are going to win the AFC South.
All right. Mr. Handy, how about you, Titans Jaguars?
I do. I'm going to go ahead and make it a triumvirate. This is the time of year when the Titans normally lose some key cog in their some part of their armor comes loose. Some key part of the armor comes loose. The whole thing is crashing apart. And I do think they got King Henry back, but Tannehill's still out, right? Can you guys hear me?
Sorry. We're having a little bit of trouble, buddy, but can you get...
Yeah. Can you guys hear me okay?
We got some really big static there. Sorry.
Hold on. Stand by.
We might have technical difficulties at the Handy compound. A little bit there. There we go.
How about now?
How's that? Oh, beautiful. There we go. That's what we're used
much
to.
Better.
Yeah, something's happening over here. Something came loose. So you're getting computer microphones right now. This is the time of year when the Titans normally have something somewhere goes wrong and the Titans wind up falling short. And the question I was asking is Tannehill is out, right? Or is he back? Yeah.
I believe it's Malik Willis, right? As far as I know, yeah.
No, it's not Malik. They're not starting Malik. They're starting.
Who are they starting?
I forgot. Whoever. It's not. They're not starting Malik though.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I thought.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're not going with Malik. They're going with
that being the case, I'm definitely going with the Jaguars.
Josh Dobbs. I'm sorry. Yes, he started last week. Correct. Yeah. Sorry, Josh Dobbs. Right. You're right.
The Jaguars. Yeah, the Jaguars at some point decided they wanted to gel, and they're making things happen. I'm giving this one to the Jaguars.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. The last 4 or 5 games, man, they've just come alive, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing great. Defense has been playing much better. Travis Etienne finally got going. This last half of the year, he's really been on fire. Christian Kirk has been like just a godsend for the Jaguars as far as receiver. And Zay Jones as well has been playing pretty well. So I think they're firing at the right time. I think they win the AFC South, get that 4th seed. I'm with you guys. Titans, Jaguars all the way, or Jaguars all the way. Now here we go. The last one we're going to talk about today. And of course, you guys don't even have to ask how I feel about this game. I'm sure you already know what I'm going to say. So I'm just going to get my opinion out of the way first and let everybody else talk. Packers, Lions, we know the deal. Seattle currently has the 7th seed, but if the Packers win, they're in. For Seattle to get in, Detroit has to beat Green Bay, and Seattle has to win. And for Detroit to get in, Seattle, and obviously they have to beat Green Bay. Seattle has to lose. They have to beat Green Bay, and then the Lions would be in. That being said, for one, I wanted to... Did I tell you how much I hate the Minnesota Vikings, especially after this last Sunday, watching that game? How much a 12
I 100%
or whatever,
12 agree with you on that game.
12-3 team doesn't even bother to show up in this game. From the start, they looked like they didn't want to play this game. They were lackadaisical. They were just out there running around while Green Bay was doing everything they could to win this game. And win it, they did. It was like 41-17 or something at the end. Like, horrible showing by the Minnesota Vikings, allowing the Packers to be one more game away from getting to the playoffs after the horrendous season they've had. And I get it. They've played much better. Obviously, again, the last 4 or 5 weeks, they've been on fire. Aaron Rodgers looks like the Aaron Rodgers of old, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. But again, it comes down to this game. It's very simple. If the Packers win, they're in. If the Lions win, they got to wait for Seattle and see if they lose. So again, my heart wants to go with the Lions, and I'm taking the Lions. I'm going to be rooting for them, even if I have to go buy a Lions jersey and a hat and sit in front of the television and root for them really hard. I'm going to root them to a victory because I don't want to. And again, if the Packers make it, they do. They'll just lose the NFC Championship game anyways, like he always does. So it's not a big deal anyways. But I'd rather not see the Packers make the playoffs this year. So let's go Lions. Let's go Lions. Let's go Lions. And Tina, I'm done. Go ahead. Packers, Lions.
Well, I have to say, as an ex-Bear fan and as someone that comes from a huge Bears family, I can't root for the Packers no matter how much my Aunt Sally wants me to. So I'm a Lions. I want it to be like the first time they met where they get beat like 15-9. I go Lions all the time. Go Lions. That's it.
Thank you, Tina.
Short and sweet. No, I got short and sweet. I get it. Delilah,
emotional pick. I can't.
I'm with you because, like I said, I have a feeling the Packers will win, but I'm going Lions all the way, man. I just can't. I can't root for them. I don't care what the situation is. Delilah.
So, I think So I agree with one of our commenters because I don't know who Facebook user is. I don't like how they scheduled this either. I do agree that they should I get, now, thinking about it at first, oh, yeah, of course it's a Sunday night game. I'm like, actually, they both should have been the afternoon game playing at the same time because I do agree that if Seattle does win, what does that do for the Lions? Now, the only thing that could do is that they win out of spite, which I hope so.
Yeah, pride.
You know what I mean?
Playing for at that point,
which is what I wanted Minnesota to do, which is why, I agree. It is so obvious that they did not care about that game at all. And I know people are like, oh no, I'm like, yeah. We remember how they came back from that 33 miracle deficit and came back and beat the heck. You know what I'm saying? So you can tell that they just did not care about this game at all. They're like, I'm going to the playoffs. Now you think that they would have cared about the seeding because that would have been more smart, is the fact that they could have taken the number 1 seed and got that bye week.
The Eagles lost. Yeah.
Right. So they could have, and I think that's what happened. I don't think they realized that the Eagles were going to lose that game to the Saints, and they were like, oh, let me not take this game serious. I'll still have the 2nd seed. No, you don't. Not anymore. Congratulations. You dropped the 3rd seed. And it's very possible, and I know we're talking about Packers-Lions, it's very possible that the 49ers sneak in there and get that number 1 seed because they're in the number 2 seed right now. Anyway, so just throwing out there, it's very possible that next week we'll see the 49ers take that number 1 spot. But anyway, so Packers-Lions, you know, I wasn't on last week, but the week before that, I mentioned this. I said, y'all letting that team win. And I was going to say, I didn't want to name that team, but you guys knew the team I was talking about. I was like, y'all letting them win. You're letting this man pick up steam again, you know, making him think he's the GOAT, you know. And so, you know, I knew that this was bad, like, because I've seen him do this before. And so I'm like, you know, as much as it pains me, now I will be rooting for the Lions, but I do think Packers will get the win. They're playing at Lambeau. It's in their favor. We know that also the NFL loves Rodgers. And so
now, see, there's the game where I'll be looking for how the refs are playing. Anthony, you talked about that earlier. So, I want to see the kind of calls that go on Sunday, my friend. I want to see that.
Well, we'll see. You know, so but I want Seattle to win just to stack the cards. So that's why, like, I get. So for me, I want a Seattle win because then, and I love you Lions fans, and I'm sorry, but then if Green Bay loses, then Seattle gets in there. You know, and
Seattle gets in, right? Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I know, Sean. Thank you. I was hoping for that too, Sean. I was like, no. But anyway, I think the Packers will get in, but I will be rooting for a Seattle win.
Yeah,
because of that. Me too, it will stack the cards against Green Bay.
Sure.
If the Lions decide to win out of spite, just to win, you know what I'm saying?
Just to
go in there and get that win.
A
little pride. But Sean, I appreciate you, man. I was kind of hurt by that game.
No offense. We knew Carson Wentz, or at least I should say I knew Carson Wentz wasn't the answer. I've said that all year, but then again, I digress. Sean, you don't have to worry about the Commanders anymore, and apparently Ron Rivera wasn't sure that they got eliminated after that game, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. Anthony Handy, my friend, Packers Lions. What say you?
I'm with Delilah. I don't want to say it, but Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. And I said this jokingly a couple of weeks ago. I think he's been off the ayahuasca for a few weeks and he's starting to come back to himself. I'm serious. I am serious. He seems more clear-headed. He doesn't look confused and constipated the whole game anymore.
But he's still going to shut the bad in the playoffs.
I mean, there's a couple times earlier in the season he threw it and he would just throw it past the dirt and go, man, dude, did I remember to cancel my DoorDash order? Like, that's the look that was on his face. But, like, he's looking more focused. He's starting to look more scruffy, which means he's looking forward to, losing the NFC Championship, like Nick said, and going on vacation. But at Lambeau, I think he's going to pull this one out. I want the Lions to win. I think the Packers will win.
Yeah, thank you. I think we're all on the same page.
I think we all four kind of think the Packers will win, but we're but we're rooting for the Lions to somehow pull this game out. Exactly.
No secret.
I think
the Packers will win, but I will be at home. Like, come on, Detroit.
I do too, and I'll be watching Sunday night. Oh wait, I'll be watching from my hotel in Vegas, but that's another. So I'll tell you that story later. But anyways. So let's move on.
Is that before or after the NFL kisses your entire backside?
Well, we're going to see, because maybe I'll run into some executives in Vegas and I'll have something to say. I may get kicked out. I might need bail money. I'll be in a Vegas jail somewhere trying to
I wish I was on this trip.
Could
you see the Let's Talk Football GoFundMe right now?
Yeah. Please get Nick out of jail in Vegas. He's stuck in there and he's... Yeah, no, I hear you.
We'd get the money real quick.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I truly do.
I know that.
But like I said, I will tell you more about that later. If it's what? Oh, if it's Davis,
Davis,
that guy, boy, that Raiders team needs an overhaul again, and they just had one. You know what I mean? Oh, come on. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, again, another fun segment. We had our fun. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that of course was for the NFC South Takeover show, which is usually on Tuesdays, but you'll always have to check and make sure that the fine folks from Canada and Sean have make their weekly Tuesday appearance for the NFC South Takeover show. Although honestly, what the hell, I'm having one of those days. That day NFC South has nothing to brag about anyway, so what the hell? There's not much to talk about there. So let's just move on. I know I'm on fire today. I can't help it. I'm riled up. I got going the minute the show started. It hasn't stopped, so why stop now? But the next segment, also another popular segment, and then coming down to the end here, folks, because we're only a couple more weeks in the season. We'll have some special playoff shows, some other things going on. But Mr. Handy, please, how would I say this? Why don't you regale us with your rookie spotlight of this week, sir?
Well, first, this.
Uh-oh. All right, Mr. Handy, take it away. I'm sorry. Never forget an introduction. Rookie Spotlight. Here we go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. Why I'm whispering, I don't even know, because I got no secrets to tell. I put everything out today. I'm not holding nothing back. But today's spotlight, our rookie spotlight, we're talking about a young man from Tampa, Florida, who attended Henry B. Plant High School and played wide receiver. He also wound up playing junior varsity in his freshman and sophomore years, because the coach thought he was too doggone small to make the squad at only 5'9". Over the summer, somewhere between his sophomore and his junior year, he sprang to a impressive 6'2" and gained 20 pounds. They let him make he made the varsity squad that season. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go another further, you guys going, who is he talking about? Well, it's already on the screen, so there's no guessing. Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers. Thank you, Delilah. Appreciate that. Christian Watson of the Green Bay Packers. He grew to 6'2" by his senior season. He didn't finish with a very impressive. He didn't really finish with impressive stats because, like I said, he only played 2 seasons of varsity. So he wound up with 10 TDs and 456 yards. He wasn't heavily recruited, again, because he didn't have 4 years worth of tape. Wound up going to North Dakota State, where, again, he played wide receiver. And while he was at North Dakota State, there's a song that I love. It's by this kid that dances face off. It's by the name of Chris Brown. And he has 2 other guys that join him, and they rap real fast. Busta Rhymes and Lil Wayne. Is called Look at Me Now. Well, when Christian Watson got to North Dakota State, he said, look at me now. Gave him the whole, when I got to go, I got to get it, got to go, got to get it, got to. He did all of that. He was the second team Missouri Valley Football Conference's redshirt sophomore year. He was a 2-time first team Missouri Valley Football Conference his junior and senior year. He was the second team All-American his senior season, and he won 2, not 1, but 2 FCS championships during his time there. He was also named the National Wide Receiver of the Week in the 2022 Senior Bowl. God bless you. We got it going on back there. Somebody pray for it. Just put a healing hand on it. It's going to be okay. While he was at North Dakota State, he finished up with 105 receptions for 2,140 yards and 14 touchdowns. Wound up being picked number 34 in the second round, with the 34th pick in the second round of the 2022 NFL draft. The Green Bay Packers select Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State. He wound up going to the Packers. And a little bit of a fun fact, his father, Tim, played ball there for the Packers in the 1990s. Now, I've given you all of that to tell you this. I haven't got to see a lot of this young man play ball, as I have documented so well on this program. The football programming out here stinks. If you don't get to see anything but Dallas football all the time, unless they're not playing, in which case you get to see a game that contains either Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray. And as we know, the latter has not been a very good option this year. So anyway, I diverse. I sat down and I looked at some of this kid's highlights. So this is check this out. He's got really, really soft hands. Not like Bernie Mac said in life, nice hands, soft, supple like a lady. Not nothing like that. He's got, for those of you that are not well versed in football, that are just here watching because you enjoy the entertainment we put on, that means he's able to bring the ball in very gently, even no matter what speed he's coming at. And it makes him a more skilled pass catcher, to just put it like that. He's also a very versatile route runner. He can run a 5 and in, he can run a 5 and out, he can run a slant, he can run a go, he can post corner, wheel, you call it. He runs all of them and runs every single one of them efficiently. There are some wide receivers that are very talented, but if you go back and you start looking at they got stats, but you look at what they did, they've got a go-to route. This kid does not really have a go-to route. He'll get you on any single one of them. He runs a 4-3. If he goes by you, you're not catching him. Every one of the deep balls that I saw him catching his highlights. Now, of course, I know it's a highlight film, and they put it together, and they put his best stuff together. But there were I watched well over 100, 200 plays. Every one of those plays from college to now, when he was on a deep route, he was easily 2 to 3 steps ahead of the defender. Even when he's got to go challenge somebody for a football, it's in a tight space, receiver on his back. 99% of the time he's catching it. The boy also has hops. He can go up and he can catch the ball. I'm not talking about the kind that they put in the with the yeast and the water in the barrel and you drink it on Sunday when you're watching the football. This boy got springs in his legs. He can go up and get the ball. They call it high point. He can go up and catch the ball at the high point of the arc of the ball coming towards him. He's also, wait a minute, that's not right. I should have deleted that from last week. It says solid tackler. That's from last week. But he's, I'm pretty sure he can tackle really well too. I didn't see him make any tackles, but since it's on there, we'll go ahead and say that. But those are his attributes that make him the athlete that he is. So far in his pro career, he's played 13 games. He's had 36 receptions for 507 yards. I know that's not really impressive, but think about this. Right now, he has he's leading the league in touchdown catches since week 10. And I know, we're getting pretty close to the end of the season, but the Packers are on that streak. He's played a very big role in the resurgence of the Packers here. Let's see his breakout game. There was a loss they had to the Eagles in week 12, but he had 4 receptions. He dropped 110 on them and got a touchdown. And there's also a certain team that our producer Sean does not like. He dropped 107 on them and got 3 TDs in a week 10 win when he shut the Cowboys down. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you might not have heard a lot from this kid this season because his team's been a little up or down. But I guarantee you, if his quarterback stays in the DARE program in the offseason and comes back for another season, you're going to see a lot of this kid. You're going to see this kid, and you're going to see a lot of him because this kid is bomb. Right now, at this point, they got in the Green Bay Packers fans saying, Devontae who? Not really, but he's really good. I don't think they'll ever say that, by the way. Don't quote me on that. We can edit that out in the post show. But ladies and gentlemen, your rookie of the week, Christian Watson for the Green Bay Packers. I talked so much, I forgot the boy's last name. How could I forget Randy Watson? Randy Watson's little brother, Christian Watson. Yes. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Boys. This has been your week's Rookie Spotlight. I have been Mr. Fingers. I appreciate you. Back to you, Mr. I Want to Smoke.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Nice
Thank
one.
you so much, Andy. I do appreciate that. Yes, Christian
like
Watts,
that.
ladies and gentlemen.
Christian Watts
We'll
and
all be
Sex with
looking
Chocolate.
right. Sex with Chocolate. They play so beautifully. Don't you agree? I do. But moving on to the segment where I apparently have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. It is time once again for Nick's picks. So let's see how we do. I mean, again, I've had an up and down year. I'm hovering around 500 for the whole year, so I wouldn't listen to me if I were you. And go ahead and do what you want and bet on whatever you want. But I'm going to give you my opinion anyways. I got 3 games this week that I want to share with you. Delilah, if you could help me, I'll go ahead and put the first one up there. I believe it was the Jaguars game. Yes, Jaguars Titans. Now again, this is for the AFC South Division, and to me, the Jaguars have literally just been on fire. And you know what? I feel bad for Josh Dobbs because he was kind of put in a really tough situation last week. They have to play the Cowboys on Thursday night in his first start. Now he's got to come back this week with the AFC South on the line and play the Jaguars, who are on fire. So I am going to take the Jaguars in this. They are a 6.5-point favorite, meaning that they're giving up 6.5 points. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Jaguars here, minus 6.5, and have them winning the AFC South Division and being that number 4 seed in the AFC playoffs. My next game on here, Delilah, there we go, Broncos Chargers. Now here's the thing, and I apologize, Tina, because I know the Broncos are still your team, even though they've had a bad season. But the Chargers, I just think, have been really playing well. Justin Herbert has shown to be the quarterback I thought he could be with the weapons he does have there in Los Angeles. They're playing the Broncos. I mean, the Broncos really don't have anything to play for. Maybe if there's some rookies that really need a good looking at, you can play them. But again, I just feel the Chargers are on a roll. You're going to want to win going into the playoffs. So I figure the Chargers with only a -3, I figure they can beat the Broncos by 3 points. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers minus the 3. Now my last game I found extremely interesting because when I looked at the line, I had to look at it a second time because I'm like, there's no way that's possible. But again, last game of the season, Eagles Giants. The Giants, and I don't want to say they don't have nothing to play for. Maybe that's part of why this line is what it is. They're secure in the 6th spot. Whether they win, whether they lose, they are the 6th seed. So maybe Vegas knows something that I don't. Like the Giants are going to sit their guys to rest them for I don't know what's happening. But I know the line is 14 points. The Eagles are giving up 14 points to the Giants. So just for the hell of it, just for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants plus those 14 points in this last game of the week for the NFC East duo. So to recap, I am taking Giants plus the 14, Jacksonville minus the 6.5, and the Chargers minus the 3. So thank you. Yes, the Eagles, like I said, Giants plus 14. That's just an amazing line to me. But again, there could be extenuating circumstances as to why that is the point. But I'll still take the Giants plus 14. So then again, that's Nick's picks for this week. We'll see what happens next week. I may not be here. And again, I'll explain that later in my one last thought. But go ahead. We are going to take one more commercial break. And then we will be back with our final segment. All right. That was a quick. Delilah's like, I love Delilah's face. Like, that should have been longer. What happened there to that one? Her face was like,
That
I thought it would be longer.
That wasn't the right commercial. I don't know why that came on. That's actually the intro to the ladies show. So
okay.
But it's not the ladies show clip.
But okay, so Thursday nights.
That's why I stopped it.
Right, no, that's why I'm like, Delilah's face was like, that should have been longer. I don't know what happened. Well, for the ladies takeover is a Thursday show that obviously it's the ladies host. It's fantastic. Catch it Thursdays, usually around 7:00, 7:30 Central Time. Delilah, what are you guys on? 6:30?
No, we changed it to 8:00 Eastern.
So 7 Central. Okay, 8 Eastern, 7 Central.
So we moved it 30 minutes just because it was hectic for all of us on different schedules.
Sure.
Getting home from work and then everything like that. So we just adjusted it 30 minutes.
Okay. So then that's 6 Mountain Time and 5 Pacific for all of you who are keeping score.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So 7 Central, 8 Eastern.
Right.
Tune in on Thursday for something really special. I'm gonna tell you so make sure you tune in on Thursday for a special segment.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's
all right.
the ladies show.
All right. That's the ladies takeover. Thank you very much. All right, so on to our final segment. And for those of you who watch regularly, you know this is what we call One Last Thought. This is just anything that's on our heart and mind to talk about. So, because she was so nice to join us this week, we'll start with Tina. Tina, why don't you go ahead and give us your one last thought?
I'm going to continue with my rant, or our rants we had earlier today in the show, about how it's just people are like, oh, my fantasy, you didn't help me on my fantasy, you didn't do this. All these fans that are getting into all of this and blaming everything and being like, well, the NFL should still be going on and this isn't that bad, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like somebody said earlier, these guys are humans. And we need to keep remembering that part of humanity is human. They're human. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to do things. And I'm glad that everybody at the game last night with Cincinnati, where the fans and everybody kind of understood, like, this is a situation where this guy's health may be in jeopardy. I watched a couple of the clips. I could not watch all of them because, as some people may know, I ended up in an ER with my mom who had a minor heart attack a couple of weeks ago. So for me, that clip was just way too much for me. I couldn't watch it through all the way through to the end. But to kind of go along with this, there was a lot of things like after that happened, everybody was like, you know, Skip Bayless is talking about how we need to go on. This is a playoff game. And there was other pundits that were saying the same thing, and fans were saying, like, we need to continue this game and everything. There's a tweet that I posted on the ladies thread that I thought was absolutely perfect and said everything. Be a human being, not a soulless ghoul. Okay? Remember that about these guys. And they're in it. They're in it for, yeah, they're playing for money, but the owners are playing for money. And everybody in this whole system needs to start thinking about player security, because it's been shown there's a lot. Remember 10, 20 years ago, the youth pop, like junior pop football and all of that would have like hundreds of kids playing. There are now moms and dads that are like, nope, my kid's not playing. I don't want him to get injured. I don't want him to deal with this. We're going to go into something that's less contact. So unless the NFL starts changing some things, this isn't just going to affect the NFL. It's going to affect college, and it's going to affect high school, and et cetera, and on down the line. So, like I said, don't be a ghoul. I'm done.
I mean, that's great. No, I totally appreciate that.
Nope.
Sorry, we lost him for a
Oh,
second.
there we
Looks
are.
like
There
he's
he is.
coming back.
Whoa,
All right.
that was a little
Welcome
freaky.
back.
Okay, he's a ghost.
Well, hello there. Okay, we're back then. Everybody's good? Okay, we're all on? All right,
This
beautiful.
summer,
Just want to make sure.
Marvel Movies presents Nightcrawler.
Yeah, something
All
like that, right? Like, geez. But, okay, so I'm sorry. Tina, thank you so much. We do appreciate that. Again, I agree 100%, my dear. That's totally, yeah. Be a human, man. Don't be a ghoul. It's going to be our new tagline. We're going to have to use that. Don't be a ghoul. Delilah, go ahead with your one last thought.
So before I do my one last thought, Tina, I'm hoping your mom is okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't
She's
aware.
recovered wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. I'm sorry.
That was the reason why I wasn't on trivia night. I kind of told
Yeah.
Nick about it, but
that's way more important. No, I apologize.
Yeah,
I'm
for sure. Yeah.
glad she's recovered. I'm sorry about that. I'm glad that you know. I could see where that would be triggering, but I wanted to say I'm glad that your mom is doing better, and sorry that you had to go through that. Sounds
100%, absolutely.
But I wanted to, before I go into my one last thought, I wanted to share, I forgot one huge factoid, and I can't believe I missed this one, but the famous catch number 2 by T.O., right? January 3rd, 1999, 49ers versus the Green Bay Packers, right? That wild card game. Everybody remembers that game-winning touchdown, right? That 25-yard catch, which was crazy, pivotal, and now it's known as the catch number 2, and it tossed Terrell Owens into like huge stardom. But anyway, sorry, that was a huge one I forgot to share at the beginning during my this week in the NFL, and I couldn't believe I missed that one. But anyway, I was like, I can't believe I missed that one. Anywho, sorry. But my my one last thought is, now I feel like, you know, it's not just about what happened yesterday. I think that I don't understand why some people are so negative and upset when someone asks for either condolences or asks for, even if it's not prayers, positive thoughts, and everybody's religious, I get it, I respect that. But you're still asking for positive thoughts, right? Feelings, setting positive vibes. Or, when someone or someone famous passes away, people are so, for some reason, there's a backlash of really ugly negativity. Like, oh, you don't know that person, or why do you care? They're not important. Or, oh, stop watching the NFL. You're a hypocrite because you're going to go back out there and watch the NFL next Sunday, right? All of this awful negative stuff. And I still don't understand why the phrase, it's not even a phrase, it's true. If you have nothing good to say or nice to say, don't say it at all. Like, what is the point of being so negative because someone is treating an athlete as a person, because they are, or if they're recognizing a death of a celebrity? What is so wrong about that? Again, athletes, celebrities, they tend to be in that same, right? They kind of end up in that same niche. They're human beings, and I feel like we forget that. Okay, their job is to entertain you. That is a job, like, regardless of how we think monetarily what they're doing, but that is their employment, right? Their job is to entertain you, or to go out and play football, basketball, whatever it is. But human decency and basic empathy should be there for everyone, regardless. I feel like, just be kind, show empathy, and if you have nothing nice to say, just don't say it at all. Why are you stomping on someone that's just asking for positive thoughts about someone? I don't understand why that it has to happen. Just don't post anything, don't say anything. You're so bothered because someone is asking for basic human decency about another human being, and asking to recognize that person was a person that's gone. Just don't say anything then. Like, what's the point of you going out there acting like you're such a superior intellectual? Because that's how I feel, that's how sometimes these people think they are. Just don't say anything. Show empathy and kindness. I don't, if we lead with empathy and kindness, this world really would be better. Honestly, I feel like that would just change so much. Be kind, be empathetic, and just don't say anything. I mean, just let people mourn who they're gonna mourn, and let people ask for prayers for whom they're asking prayers for. Why is it hurting you? Anyway, that's my one last thought.
Nope, absolutely. Man, you guys are on fire today though. Like, these are great takes on everything. Cause I totally 100% agree with you. And my dad and mom have been telling me that since I was a little boy. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm totally with you on that one, Delilah. Mr. Handy, one last thought from you, sir.
Yeah. This one is well, I don't really know how to classify it, but learn to be grateful for the folks that do things for you. I'm not saying, not in a way like you loaned me $10 for gas back in 1996, and now I forever had to bend over and kiss your feet like old boy in Coming to America when he saw Prince Akeem. You understand what I'm saying? But oh my goodness, it is you. Thank you for the $10. I was a 15-year-old boy out of gas, 3 miles. I don't even know why I sound like I'm African all of a sudden, but you get what I'm saying. But learn to be grateful for the folks that do things for you. Don't be so quick to be ungrateful just because you don't feel like you owe that to them. There are folks that there are people from my own personal experience, there are people in my life that were there for me when, to use an expression, I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, almost literally. And those folks will forever, like, I'm not again, not bootlicking or anything, but I always will hold those folks in high esteem, because I will not ever forget that when I was hungry, that was somebody that helped me get something to eat. When I was broke, that was somebody that gave me $5 to get to my next job, put gas in my car to get to my next job so I could make a couple more dollars so I could get to the next job. You know, when I needed somebody to talk to when I was on the ledge. Not literally. Please don't read anything into that, because Delilah, to go with your thought, that people be like, "Oh my God, are you okay? You need help? You know, you need to." Yeah, but when I was on that ledge, the people that were there to just pull me in off the ledge and give me a hug and tell me it's gonna be okay. Learn to be that way. If you got somebody that looks out for you and does things for you and tries to care for you and 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 stands up to the world for you, don't treat them like a piece of garbage. Don't give them their respect as their respect is due, because there's going to come a time when you are going to be due that same respect, and you're going to be looking for it. But you have to, saying is true, in order to get respect, you have to first be willing to give respect. And I personally, speaking for me, I got a hard time having respect for anybody that doesn't respect anybody. And if you ain't got no respect for me, I definitely ain't got no love for you. I'd rather just have my peace and go on about my business. I've got to the point in my life where peace is the name of the game. Peace, I'm out. So just try and learn. I don't care how you figure it out. Learn how to respect the folks that look out for you, and that's all I have. Yeah,
Man, like seriously,
Sean, a piece of garbage. Garbage.
No, but thank you, Anthony, because again, man, I'm telling you, you guys brought it this week with the one last thought. Seriously, that's all of this is good stuff, and it's all So mine, and again, sometimes in life you get to that point where you start having the self-reflection, and the reason this came about for your boy this week is because on Saturday I turned the big 50. Yes, my 50th birthday is upon me. And thank you, I appreciate that, but it's gotten me to really take a look just at the last 50 years, as it were, and just kind of see where I've come, see where I've been. Yeah, just you start really thinking about your life in general. And man, I could go back and tell you stories upon stories of things I've gotten into and things I've gotten out of and all that good stuff. But the most important thing I hope you take away from what I'm trying to say right now is that I just want to live my life and be happy for however much time. And I don't mean to sound morbid, but whatever time I have left on this planet. I've had, I can't complain. I've had 50 good years. There are tons of people who never make it to 50. And I feel very grateful, like you said, Anthony, for those people who have helped me along the way, who have helped me to get to this point, who have, like you said, given me an extra dollar when I didn't have it or anything like that. You know, and I just told myself, man, you're at that age now, man. Enjoy everything. Seriously, regardless of what it is, just enjoy. You've gone through all the hard stuff, you've gone through a lot of the all that good stuff. Just enjoy, man. Like I said, I want peace too. That's all I'm looking for. I want to be able to do what I want to do, have a good time, get along with everyone, just enjoy each other's company. Let's just have a good time. And to that end, I'm doing something that I've never done before that I've always wanted to do, and I'm taking a trip to Las Vegas for my 50th birthday. Um, Incorporated with that, for those of you who don't know, I like to play poker. Okay, so there is a tournament that I'm playing in. This is one of the reasons I am going. That starts on Monday. The Monday the 9th starts the tournament, and it's the International Moose Lodge that I belong to, the chapter here in River Grove. They have a tournament of all the moose lodges all over the country, or internationally. I think Canada too. There's a few other places. So we're all going to convene in Vegas, play in this tournament. So I'm going just to have a good time, enjoy, my birthday weekend. Hopefully win some money in this tournament. Hopefully I won't have to come back in a barrel with suspenders because I lost everything. So hopefully it'll be a good time. But again, it's just something that I've always wanted to do, and I told myself, man, just do it. I mean, I was like, yep, I'm going to do it. It's my present to myself. So again, I encourage everyone, regardless of what age you are, just enjoy life, man. Just enjoy life and just have a good time. Love the people you love, respect the people you need to respect, all that good stuff. But to that end, too, to all of you here, seriously, I know I've probably said this a few times, but the Let's Talk Football family, you guys have been great to me. I totally appreciate it. You guys tune in, you comment. You've had me on your shows. I've guested on other shows. I've done other things. Yeah, I'll definitely stay away from Tigers, Johnny. Thanks. I don't need a Siegfried and Roy situation going on here, my friend. I like my throat. But yeah, I just, thank you guys so much for even listening to my crazy rantings at times on here. Like, I know I can just go off and all that good stuff. And that's why Sean always, oh, Nick, I want the smoke. I do want the smoke. It's fun. But at the same time, again, just thank you all. Thank you all for allowing me to do this and for allowing me to just speak my mind and have fun with all of you guys. Again, thank you to Tina for coming on this week and sharing her thoughts with us about everything we talked about. Truly appreciate that. Again, you're welcome anytime, just so you know. Thank you very much.
Like I said,
Delilah. No, you're very welcome. Delilah, you already know, you and I go back 10 years now. I love you, girl. It's all good. Like,
I love you
one
too.
of these
Happy
days we'll
birthday.
thank you. I appreciate it. One of these days we'll get back to my buddies and have a beer again. So I'll meet you there someday. Handy, I love you, man. You're a funny guy. You and I are on the same wavelength with some stuff.
Love you
Like,
too,
we've had
bro.
conversations outside of here. Just great. It's phenomenal. Sean, you already know. Sean's like the older brother, not older brother. He's younger, but it's like, I feel like he's just more wise than I am because I'm just a knucklehead. I know nothing. Like, I just have, I'm just there. I do my thing. Like, I don't complicate things too much. I try to be a simple guy, just all that good stuff. But Sean's like the brother I don't want to say I never had, because I do have 2 stepbrothers and I love them. But so it's all good. But thank you guys so much. Thank you all for tuning in this week. We know we're on a little longer than we normally are, but we had a lot to talk about. We had some serious things to get out of the way. But as always, we always have a good time on the Roundtable, no matter what happens. So for Tina Winter, Anthony Handy, and Delilah Crespo, who thank you, Delilah, for producing this week because Sean was otherwise busy. I'm Nick Rosario. Happy New Year, everyone. Have a great week. And no matter what, there will be a show next week. I don't know if I'll be on because, again, I will be in Vegas depending on what happens. Maybe I'll make an appearance. Maybe I won't. But either way, we'll be back next week, and it will be a playoff preview show because the playoffs do start the weekend after that. So Be prepared for that. It's a new year. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a great week, everyone. See you next Tuesday.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. Good night. Oh, beautiful. Oh, Tina got out of there.